Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Cause podcast. I am so excited. I'm so excited today. Kyle, you know why I'm excited?
Why are you excited, Cody?
Because you told me that you had something to talk about yourself today, so that happened in your life. So I'm super excited. But first, I just want to say welcome, everybody, to the 11th episode of the Geek Cause podcast. It's so good to have you here today.
I just realized that we're recording the 11th episode on the 11th.
Oh, wow. That's spooky.
That's very spooky.
You know what I just realized?
What did you just realize?
I just realized that, I realize.
Ah, I see.
You see that?
Sometimes I realize.
Real lies.
Not to be confused with fake eyes or fake lies. Or even fake pies.
Fake pies? Alright.
Don't act like I made it weird. You started it.
But yeah, anyways, we got a ton of topics we're going to talk about today, so we'll try to get through them all in a quick manner for you guys, but also in the same loving, sort of just talking way too much aspect that we do all the time, just to make sure you guys get enough of our opinions.
Like, it won't be a long one this week. 2 hours later.
16 hours later, as I'm editing this and crying that I have a 6-hour podcast.
Just sobbing into yourself, going, "Why are we like this?"
No, but I'm excited. I'm excited. So, Kyle, I've been waiting since the minute you told me you had something that went on in your life for this moment, so I can ask you, what's been going on in your life?
Well, it's been fairly calm throughout the week. Not too much. Went out on Saturday night with a few friends.
Ooh.
Then got up Sunday morning and went to an airport to watch one of said friends fly.
To fly or to fly?
No, fly. He's getting flight lessons. He is actually getting a pilot's license.
What was he flying?
A plane.
What kind of plane?
I don't know the type of plane.
Was it like a passenger plane? Or
it was like one of the small, like, 2-people planes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of ones that you could smuggle cocaine to Colombia in.
Is that what he's doing this for?
Yeah. The plane's name was Becky.
Becky.
It was Becky.
That is the great name.
Yeah. So me and a friend of mine went with him. We set up in this cafe area that overlooks the runway. He went down with doing his lessons. We had a lovely lunch.
You didn't want to fly with him?
Oh, it was his first time up.
You didn't want to fly with him?
No, I didn't want to fly with him. I don't trust him.
How'd they say he did?
Really well.
Oh, wow.
Did
you watch?
He got full control when he was up in the air. So it's just...
That's scary.
Very scary. Because I know him very well. And knowing him behind the wheel of a plane in full control. About 5-6 kilometers from military airspace. Like, literally, there's the airport, and then there was a railway track beside it. And if you went to the right side of the track, you were technically in military airspace.
That's iffy.
Oh, very, very.
We need you guys to land this plane now. I guess he just has the control taken away from him, but...
His pilot would probably be like, "Yep, no, I'm taking control now."
How was, did the pilot say how he did?
I didn't get to talk to the pilot, sadly. But, the guy himself said he did well. I mean,
I'd say I did well too.
He's going back for another session, so I'm gonna guess he did okay.
He did okay enough.
He passed.
He's trying to get his pilot license, then, is what it is.
He's trying to get a license to fly.
So, like, what does he plan on doing?
I honestly don't know. At the moment, I feel like the only reason he's doing it is just to pick up girls.
Oh, yeah? Is that how he's gonna start his conversation?
Honestly,
"Hey, baby, did you know that I fly?"
I'm a pilot. I'm pretty sure that's his reasoning.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Hey,
I mean, I guess if it works, it works.
Each to your own. Rumor has it, I don't know if this is true now, and if he listens to this, he'll kill me for saying it.
Alright, let's hear the rumor.
But apparently he brought a girl once to that cafe for drinks.
Yeah.
And told her that he was a pilot.
Oh no.
And this was weeks before he started his lessons.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a pilot. Yeah, I know how to get up in the plane and do a little 360. Yeah. Maybe I'll take you sometime, girl.
Quite literally.
Oh, so yeah, no.
When he was up flying, we had a lovely lunch. My friend had a lovely Caesar salad. It's very nice. It was a starter, but still huge. And then for dessert, we had Death by Chocolate. Like a chocolate cake with chocolate sauce and a bit of jam.
Well, this was at the airport or whatever you're at?
Oh yeah, it's like a fairly nice place.
Oh, Shit.
It was like €7 for the cake. It was like one single slice.
Oh.
So it's pricey enough. But
Yeah,
like,
but nice.
it's good quality. And we took pictures.
I was wondering what happened to the podcast funds. I looked at the podcast bank account and I saw like negative $26, and I was like, man, I swear last time I looked at this, there was at least €5 in here.
It's like, yeah, no, I spent it all on cake. Then we were done there. We went to because it was up near Maynooth.
Okay, yeah.
If you know where Maynooth is, you know. So we drove into Maynooth town. We went to McDonald's then.
So you had lunch and then you had McDonald's.
Yeah, because we had lunch and then we wanted to go get coffee, and we went to McDonald's and got McFlurries.
Oh, that's a good coffee.
Yeah. I still got a coffee.
Oh, and a McFlurry.
And a McFlurry. Yeah, I got a Mars McFlurry.
Now the negative €26 in the bank account makes sense.
Exactly. So pretty much I was out drinking heavily the Saturday, went to bed at like 4 or 5 a.m, and then was up at, I think it was like 11 or 12 to go to an airport to take pictures.
Did you get pictures of him up there?
Oh yeah, I got a few pictures.
Did he do a little flip?
And he didn't do a flip.
Probably
At least I don't
allowed.
think he did, not intentionally anyways. Maybe by accident, like the wind took him and he just swirled.
He just like, I'll just go with it. Did a barrel roll.
Yeah. And the scarier part is the fact that the people I was out drinking with the night before, he was one of them.
Oh. Ooh.
It's how I got invited. I was sitting there and he was like, right, Kyle, so, airport. And I was like, give me actual details. And he's like, come see me fly. At this point, he's had about 3 brandies.
And you're just like, yeah, okay.
Sure. Yep. Forgot. Until I got a phone call the next morning. Going, where are you at, lad? It's like, oh, I'm at home. It's like, right, I'm pulling now. So I'd like scramble, like put clothes on.
It sounds like it's something that you just, it's just naturally you.
Yeah, it really is.
Just forgetful.
Yeah, even with this podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's like, oh no, I just
I've
fall out of
forgotten.
bed, put clothes on and walk out the door.
Becca actually forgot today. I had to remember.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I told you last night.
Oh yeah.
I had nearly forgotten about the podcast, and I was like, oh boy, how'd that happen?
Yeah, like I didn't post my topics last night because I was dead.
You were dead. Oh yeah, you weren't
I'm
feeling well.
I'm currently sick as well, which is, it's great. So yeah, I had a really eventful weekend.
So just a lot going on in your life.
A lot going on for once. That's it's like with me. Nothing will happen for weeks upon weeks, but then everything will happen in the basis of 2 days.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm the same way, kind of.
It's just no life for such a long period of time.
With nothing really
and
going
then-
on, and then all of a sudden you have a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I get it. Sounds like you had a good time, and I'm glad you were able to
Pretty
share
good
that
time.
with us.
Thank you. And what about you? Do you do anything wild or exciting?
No, nothing wild or exciting. I did stream a bit. You know,
like you do
I've been doing
every second day anyways.
Yeah.
For 3 hours and 14 minutes and 3 hours and 48 minutes.
Are you?
I get a notification every time
in the Gmail for the update.
Every time you have to configure restream.
the stream statistics. Yeah, it's good.
Every time I get a pop-up notification.
That's good.
for
I
it.
like that. It gives me good statistics in there, and
Like,
you can see.
I get no other notification except those.
See there too.
And I want to get other notifications, but none come through.
The only ones that we can send through are these ones. Yeah, so I've been doing that and I've been enjoying it. Other than that, though, I've not been doing anything. I did watch the Nintendo Direct, which we will talk about here in a few minutes. But other than that, yeah, not much goes on in my life. Unfortunately, it is currently at a standstill. Oh, I did finish getting the process of renewing my visa, so I can stay in Ireland until I need to leave.
Until, like, you know, you get bored.
Yeah, until I decide that this place is no longer good for me, and I just blow it up and leave, like every normal American.
Until your patriotic blood boils too much.
And then I take all your oil and I leave.
And I need to go back to the land of assault rifles and eagles.
and hot dogs or whatever else that people think that we like.
We do have hot dogs here as well.
Yeah, but to be fair, you guys have like one type of hot dog in a package of Frankfurters, you call them.
Yeah.
And it's just like one brand, and there's like,
Yeah.
It's in the aisle, it's like just like one section that probably has like 6 packs of Frankfurters. If I were to go to a Kroger, which is a grocery store, in well, at least in Michigan, but it's not
Sounds like a German Bond villain.
I can walk in there and I can walk over to the section where the meats are and like see the hot dogs. and they'll be called hot dogs for one, and then for two, there'll be at least 8 different types and like 4 different brands. So a little bit more popular in the States.
Yeah, but in Ireland we don't like having too many choices.
Yeah, you just have one and you just suffer with it, and you guys appreciate the suffering.
It's like there's 3 brands of milk. There's Avamore, there's the other one some people buy, and then there's always like the shop brand milk. And that's it.
There's just not enough capitalism.
There is no other milk. There's like, for butter, there's Kerrygold and there's Lolo. And they're the 2 main ones. If you buy other ones, like, you know, people give you a weird look at the checkout.
And they're just like, what? I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, it's like, I've never seen that before. Like pizzas, it's either Goodfellas or Chicago Town. We don't like choice.
No, choice isn't.
We like one or the other.
It's either this or that, and everything else, well, you'll probably never touch it anyways.
It's like we fought for independence, got independence, but then we're like, oh, but we want to keep fighting. And then we had the Civil War. Literally like a year after.
We just keep arguing about just this or that. It's always just 2 things.
Just keep going.
Well, that's exciting.
Very.
And
how did we get onto that?
I don't know. And we're going to go right off of it, and we're going to talk about something that's actually exciting now, which is all of our topics, starting with exactly what I started to talk about a little bit ago, which is the Nintendo Direct. So, September... Well, I don't know what day it was.
It was what?
September 4th, I think is when it was.
Thursday.
So Thursday...
Or Wednesday.
It wasn't Wednesday.
Thursday.
There was a day. There was a day, and there was a Nintendo Direct. And it had a lot of stuff. It was 40 minutes, and it was really, really good. I watched all of it. So did Becca, my wife.
And I watched the highlights.
And it was actually really enjoyable. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. In case anybody didn't know, you can check out @TheGeekCause on Instagram and Twitter. And for certain things like this, I like to just kind of tweet my live reactions and stuff going on and keeping people updated. So you can always go give us a follow there and check out what we're doing.
Nice plug. That was very well done.
But I kept, I post all my thoughts, and there's a couple good things that are going on there, and just like a few that I really wanted to highlight that I'm excited for, and I think Kyle actually has a few that he's excited for as well.
Hell yeah.
So we're just going to kind of go through them real quick and kind of give just a quick thought process on what we think. So Overwatch, and they're calling it the Legendary Edition. I'm assuming that just means that there's more stuff.
I'm pretty sure that's the Legendary Edition is just like the edition, but all the extra stuff.
And I don't even know what extra stuff there is because everything comes when you buy Overwatch.
Do the new champions come with it? Or is that not a seasonal thing? And do they not have like a battle pass type thing as well?
No.
For skins and things?
For skins, but like in terms of like heroes, you get all of the heroes as they come out. It's just updated if you have the game.
Oh.
Like I have the game and I have everything. I haven't played it in a while, which I thought about starting it back up now that it's going to be on, even though they're staying separate platforms from what I've gathered so far. They're probably not going to be cross-platform, but...
Which I think is a good idea.
It's good because they haven't been for any of the other systems.
They shouldn't be now.
And they shouldn't be now. Plus, with the Nintendo Switch, kind of... The controls aren't the worst if you have, like, a Pro Controller for FPSs, but you can tell that it wasn't naturally made for it. They do have... So a couple of the features are they're going to have all the same stuff, but... There's actually going to have the gyro controls, like the movement controls, if you have it in handheld mode, which apparently, according to a lot of people in first-person shooters and stuff like that, works really, really well with the Switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it works really well.
But I suppose so. It's like your own reflex would just automatically whip it.
And it is pretty precise with the gyros, I've noticed. And I think they have like some good tech in there for it, like way better than just a standard cell phone even. So
better than the Wii back in the day.
I mean, that is only so good. I mean, it still got popular, but Overwatch, yeah, I think Overwatch is going to be really cool. I think it's a really cool addition to add to the Switch. It's going to, especially just because it's portable, it's going to be something that I think a lot of people are just going to flock to, that version
and
specifically.
I think what it'll do for Overwatch as a whole because as Overwatch went on, it got very, very competitive. You only really played Overwatch if it was something, you knew the strats, you knew what to do, you knew the meta. If you missed out on that, you more than likely were losing every other game.
And I think
going to the Switch will casualize it a little bit more.
Just like bring it back, because the thing is it's good. I think it's good that it got more competitive. The issue though is it was getting more competitive but weeding out the people that didn't play it competitively.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the game came out and it was a good thing for multiple people. It was casual, but also had the competitive aspect. And then it looked like it was starting to shove out the sort of casual crowd.
Yeah.
Now you can kind of bring it a little bit back in because you're going to have people that want to be competitive on the Switch because there's always competitive people and you want them on every platform. It's what you want, really. But it's going to make it so the more casual players that play Switch games are going to be like, oh, I'll dip my toes in this and see how it is. And they're going to enjoy it. So I think Overwatch, very good idea. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Hell yeah.
You're excited for this one for sure.
Oh yeah. I love Luigi's Mansion.
I've never played a Luigi's Mansion.
They could release Luigi's Mansion on, like, the NES, and I'd still buy it. It's like, oh, we're going to release a third one,
amazing.
But we're going to release it on, like,
like a
Nintendo. 3-decade-old console for you.
The Famicom.
I'd still buy it. Just because I love Luigi's Mansion.
Huh. I do know it has a really good cult following of people that just terribly, like, love it terribly.
It's like you either adore Luigi's Mansion or you've never played it.
We already knew that this was coming out, but they released a couple interesting things. There's a couple new floors that they talked about. I think there's like 3 new floors that they announced for it, which is cool. It means just more stuff that they're kind of prepping you for cool, interesting floors. And then different game modes for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So for the multiplayer, you can have the single player mode, but like co-op you can have with your Gooigi, which is so fun to say.
Adore.
But there's actually different modes that you can play, like different multiplayer modes. Kind of like I guess some of it would be almost arcade-like games.
Yeah, I got a very like, what was it? Mario Party.
Yeah, very Mario Party vibes. But that's cool because it's always good to have different options available in your game. So I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
Yeah, and I think those type of games shine best with other people.
For sure.
So the idea of making that more of a thing with the new Luigi's Mansion is just, it's going to do wonders for it.
They're trying to I think what Nintendo is doing lately is they're really trying to popularize getting people, like, they're trying to make it so the online aspect is actually better because they know that they've had issues with, like, making it easy for people to play online, and multiplayer aspects, they've kind of been shying away from it, so I think they're trying to get back to it. And on that topic, Super Kirby Clash, which is another game that was announced, is actually, it's free to play. I downloaded it. Free to start, anyways. And you can buy like gems. It's kind of like a phone mobile game.
Yeah.
But you have like these like the little Kirby's, and they each have their own jobs. You can choose between a mage, a healer, a sword user, and like a mallet user. And they have like different abilities and like skills that they use. But you level up. It's super super simple. Think of like phone game simple. But they have, like, you're fighting bosses. So imagine, like, playing Monster Hunter or Dauntless or whatever, where you just, like, go and all you do is you fight bosses. Yeah. But you're fighting as a team, and they have, like, a multiplayer aspect to it, and they really push it in the game. And I think what it is they're trying to get that sort of, hey, we have an online, and it's not just about us wanting you to buy it because it's cheap, so it's not like we're going to make tons of money from it.
We actually want you to use it and enjoy it as well.
Yeah, we want to prove that we are going to have content for it, and I think it's a really, really good idea. In terms of, I mean, there's a ton of other announcements for a bunch of other games and stuff that we already knew about.
Yeah.
There's just a couple other that I kind of want to go over that we didn't really know about that it's going to be really cool to see. Deadly Premonition, Origins, and the second one that's going to be coming out.
Sequel for Deadly Premonitions. I want to know the guy who pitched that at a board meeting.
I'll tell you what.
His coffee told him to do it.
the game has amassed such a cult following over the years due to the fact that it's weird.
It's such a meme.
It's just a meme. It's not what I would call a good game, but it's not like the game was terrible. It just had a ton of ideas that were unnecessary.
I know how to describe it. It is the video game equivalent of The Room. Where it's bad, but it's not bad. You still watch it and play it and absolutely adore it. But you know, it's just,
It's like, you know what it is? I think what they're going to do with the second one too is so you know how, was it Evil Dead, the first one that came out? It was like, it was a horror movie, but they were self-aware. Like it was meant to be a horror, but self-aware. So cheesy on purpose, but it was still meant to be a horror game. And but then each one after that, it went to like just cheesy
then
sort
they
of
came
elements.
Out with freaking Army of Darkness. It was like, oh, let's put him in medieval times.
Exactly. Then it became purposely weird and funny without any sort of but the original, I think people forget that Evil Dead was supposed to be like scary but memey as well.
Like
but
it's old school Sam Raimi.
Yeah, and I think what's going to happen is that's kind of what happened with Deadly Premonition. It was supposed to be a horror game, but it wasn't scary.
No.
It wasn't that good, but it had a lot of charm to it.
Yeah.
A lot of charm with all the different elements, and it was weird.
Yeah. They had to know, though. Like, you see, like, he wore red, like, raincoat, didn't he? The bad guy.
The bad guy, yeah.
Like, you'd see him creep by in the background, but, like, this really happy whistle tune would be playing. Just as he's creeping around with, like, an axe, murdering people.
It's just like, a big axe, and he's swinging stupidly, and it was... Listen... The second one, I can tell that they're just going to up the memes for it, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be, instead of it, the first one wasn't meant to be like that, I don't think, in of itself. I think it kind of was, but not in the way that they wanted. This one is going to just, like, amplify it.
I think it was very much Asian people trying to recreate Twin Peaks.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. And the thing that's cool is, that we're going to be able to get this on Switch and play this on Switch, that's awesome. Because more games for Switch is always good, but being able to play it and port... This is the only thing I'm going to say is, these games aren't going to be great graphics, you already know that, so it doesn't matter at all about being on the Switch. And it's going to have everything that you want, but in handheld mode as well. And people need to remember that all these games that are coming out, you can say whatever you want about the Switch, but having the ability to play these in handheld mode is nuts.
Is freakishly good, and you see that with some of the ones after that I want to stop on. Like, we've got Assassin's Creed, the Rebel Collection, which I'm assuming is Assassin's Creed 3, Liberation, and Rogue.
Yeah,
I'm going to guess it's the Colonial America ones.
Yep.
Like, that's impressive to run on the Switch in handheld.
But the same as we already knew about The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition coming out for it. But even with that, if you actually look at it, it's not that bad. It's not like it looks like you're looking at a game that was downscaled. It doesn't look like you're looking at a game that came out like 40 years ago necessarily. Yeah. It just looks like you're playing a game that was obviously... If you were to run the game on a very low computer and it could actually run on that low of settings, that's what it looks like. And that's fine. I think that most people are fine with that just want to play the game.
How I kind of describe it is like... It's like you're watching a video of the game on YouTube. But your internet can't handle like 720p quite yet. So you're sitting somewhere between like 420 and 7.
What is it, 480 you mean?
480, yeah.
I think it's 480. 480p and then like
720p.
Yeah, and 720.
Like somewhere between there.
It really doesn't look that bad. And the mobile aspect is, I think, just really, we need to just keep going to that. I mean, we got an announcement that if you have online, you have now a huge selection of like 20-something SNES games. So now you have the NES games, the SNES games. They said more of those were actually coming, which NES games, okay, whatever. But getting more Super Nintendo games, that's like hell yeah. That could be like hours and hours and hours of free games pretty much just for having on the online. Like, it costs $15 a year or something stupid like that.
Like, I know people who'd buy a Switch just for that.
Oh yeah. And that's... The handheld aspect is nuts for that. We already knew about Pokemon Sword and Shield. The cool things about that is the curry decks.
Oh, yeah.
So you can make curries and it can boost up. It's funny, interesting. The camp aspect of it was really cool. Being able to have your own little like camp that you can make.
Yeah.
I think that having that stuff is just nice charm. They're adding in a lot of games, but I want that charm in these games.
I like the camp idea as long as someone doesn't harass me to put money in the box. I'm looking at you, Red Jen. Every time I go to my camp, it's like, oh, you haven't donated in a while.
It's like, shut up.
No, if that happens in Pokemon, I'm gonna rage quit.
And then a couple other real quick while we're looking at it. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Hell yeah.
The most random thing to all of a sudden get released, especially on Switch, but super awesome.
Oh, so cool.
Super awesome to see this. I think nobody can complain about that whatsoever.
What was the name of the guy in Jedi Outcast?
I can't remember.
Was his name Kyle, by any chance?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. I don't know why that feels familiar.
It's been so long since I played that game.
Oh, yeah.
Years and years and years. And then we have Dauntless is gonna be a cool free to play game that's coming out for Switch. It's basically like a Monster Hunter but free to play, which is cool. Call of Cthulhu has like a little bit of stuff that I know, like a little bit of a following to it. Vampire,
that'd be a pretty good handheld one.
I don't know much about it.
It's like set in London during like a plague, like Victorian London.
Oh, okay.
And you're a vampire, and it's pretty much about you trying to figure out who turns you into a vampire.
Okay, that's cool.
And like you learn about people, and then
Good
you can
story.
cure their sickness. And if you help them,
are they down with
they're
the
worth
sickness?
more. They are.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, we'll just.
But God, I hate you so much. But yeah, like if you heal them, their blood quality will increase, so you'll get more XP from killing them. But if you kill the wrong person, the societal structure in that area can collapse.
Oh, that's weird.
So like there's always like a source of the community, someone who's kind of like holding it up, a pillar, that's what they're called.
That's kind of cool.
And if you kill them, the society kind of like collapses in on itself.
That's interesting. Looking forward to that then, I
so
guess.
Like that in handheld mode, awesome for like long train rides or flights.
Yeah, be able to plug it in or hook it up to your TV, and then like, oh shit, I need to like, I gotta go somewhere or something and sit for a little bit. I'll just play this. Might as well.
Bring with you.
We already knew about Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm super excited for that though. It just seeing more of it just gets me super pumped for all the aspects, the crafting to it, the online aspect, being able to have couch co-op on it. Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Xenoblade Chronicles: The Definitive Edition. Finally, we're seeing a release on a modern system for the Xenoblade Chronicles. I mean, it was on Wii,
time,
but like this is one of those things where it's one of those games where people are like, yeah, I can get this, I can play it, and then I'll actually be able to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I don't want to play the second one without playing the first one. I don't even know if they're connected fully. It's
just you want it. It's that thing.
Yes, it's one of those things where you really, really want to. And then finally, real quick, we got more about the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate characters that are coming out, Banjo, because we got a little bit more talk on that.
Yes.
Also, we have, who is it from Final Fight?
Oh.
Kyle?
Oh.
It's Kyle.
Yes, it's me.
Kyle from Final Fight. No.
I'm proud to announce that I'm the new character.
I can't remember what character it was, but from Final Fight, there's going to be somebody. And then they finally announced and said, we're going to be releasing more. Like more. Like we're constantly making more.
More
characters.
as in like more quantity or more as in a person?
More more characters to play.
Ah, okay.
More characters to play. Like we actually have planned on like this is gonna be. You guys have been so excited for these releases that we're gonna do more. We're gonna do more characters.
More.
Which is nuts because there's already like 40 characters in the game. Like it's a nuts amount.
Hey, we won't say no to more.
Right, exactly. Can't complain about content. And then
only one thing though. I think it was in Super Smash Bros. I think it was Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I think it was, where Snake had the greatest ass of all time. That was Smash, wasn't it?
Why were we bringing that up?
Because they got rid of it in the new one.
They got rid of his glorious cheeks?
He's not as thick anymore.
No.
I remember seeing when they showcased him that his cheeks weren't as perfect.
He lost his... he lost the thickness with double C's.
Exactly.
That's
he
sad.
is not down with the thickness.
That's sad. But what's not sad for a lot of people, a lot of Undertale fans, is there's a costume released that you can get for your Mii, and it's just Sans from Undertale.
Straight up.
What's up, Sans? What's going on? People lost their minds at that on Twitter. I was just watching everybody just lose their minds. But anyways, as Nintendo Direct as a whole, I thought was just
A+.
A+. They did a really good job. There's a lot of good things coming out. I think I'm going to stand... I was talking to Rich, who we actually had on the podcast before. If you want to check out episode 4 or 5.
God, was it that long ago?
I think so.
Really?
Maybe 5
Jesus.
of the podcast. Could be 6, I guess, but I can't... It's been a while now.
It's been like
weeks.
5 episodes.
But I was talking to him and I was saying like, he was streaming and I was having a chat with him and I go, you know, if you don't like a lot of the games that Nintendo are releasing on the Switch, 3DS, whatever right now, then fine. I get it. I was like, but to say that they're not killing it right now, even if the game's not meant for you,
it's like
to say that they're not killing it, you're dumb. You're nuts because they're releasing games every month. A ton of good games are coming out. Third party, first party. I guess that kind of weird second party that me and you have talked about before where it's a third party game, but it's like closely tied in with Nintendo. they are just, they're killing it, and they show no signs of stopping with all the stuff they're releasing.
And it's like, I don't even think a lot of people after this can say, like, oh, there's not anything for me there.
No.
Like, looking at this list of 30-odd announcements.
RPGs, action games.
First-person
shooters.
Like,
old games, new games. It's...
like, Tetris is in there.
Tetris 99, right?
Yep.
Is it just an update for it? Because they already had it out for it.
Invictus one, yeah.
Oh, Invictus, yeah, weird.
Like, it's literally something for everyone.
Yeah, so to say that they're not absolutely smashing it, you're just...
They're not smashing it.
You're being... This isn't even about being fanboy or not anymore. This is about, like, you either agree that they're killing it, whether you like the titles or not, or you just shut your mouth, because they are killing it. There's not a lot of, like, consoles and stuff out there with like, the developers and, like, the publishers trying to go out of their way to get all this and put it on something like this type of platform. So, fair play to Nintendo. And speaking on that, we have...
something that we're a bit more confused about.
But I see the market for it, because I already know people that are into fitness type stuff related to the Switch.
They do this with every console they do.
Oh yeah. And despite what anybody says, it always gets good, like
it
enough,
sells.
It sells to the people that to people like my sister, who, Carol, if you're listening to this, I love you, but you're the type of person that loves these things. Cause she was just talking to me how there's this boxing game on Nintendo Switch that's like a fitness boxing, and she's like, I swear by it, it gives a great workout. I feel tired after every single session, and it's amazing. This is the thing for her, and it's what's potentially called the Switch Do.
Switch Do.
Why just do it when you can Switch Do it?
Oh, if I swear to God, if that's like their slogan.
I'm out. If that's your slogan, you have to buy me lunch.
I will buy. I will actually buy you lunch anywhere of your choice. We will go, and I will pay for lunch.
Because I can just already see it. But if you didn't see, it is literally like some sort of bendy plastic ring.
If you've ever used, they're like fitness rings where they create tension when you push them together. You're supposed to like put them between your knees, and you're supposed to bend your knees in
and squeeze your arms in,
and then you can do it with your arms
lift
as well.
Them up and go over. It's literally
one of those, but it connects to your Switch.
So you put one controller into the side of it for I'm assuming some sort of like dynamic controls, and then you put one attached to a strap that goes under your leg.
Yeah,
and it literally is like in perfect positions to somehow sync up. We don't know enough yet. This is just announced. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in general today, we're just kind of going off of.
Yeah, it's all very fresh announcement
It's just announcement stuff and things that kind of have lightly been talked about. But we want to talk about this just because it just seems so odd.
Yeah.
And but I know it's going to do good. I know that you're going to have people that, and it's going to be like the 30-year-olds that want to work out, but also kind of want to play video games, but also...
And the parents whose kids have a Switch, they're like, oh, maybe I'll get this for myself, and then I can do that while they're at school.
I can Switch do this while they Switch do that.
Oh, God, help me.
And it basically, the ad was just a bunch of people with doing workouts,
doing
with these
various like poses and workouts while a bunch of people on a couch behind them were like cheering them on.
And clap. Woo, yeah! Oh, and so like I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of weird mini games and stuff.
Oh yeah, like with the Wii Fit board where they had like skiing, little jogging games, and
party
stuff like
games
that.
And stuff. But also you have like the people that were just doing yoga and stuff with it.
Yeah, like the actual Wii Fit game that had the yoga girl. She was in Smash. I don't know if she's in the new one.
Yeah, she is.
Is she?
Yeah, Wii Fit girl.
Yeah, the trainer. Yeah,
Wii Fit trainer. That's what it is.
Like, there's a whole game dedicated to it, so there'll probably be a whole game dedicated to that.
For sure. She'll probably be back.
More than likely.
We'll call her Switch Fit. Switch trainer, switch up the trainer girl.
The do-it-yourself trainer.
Do-it-yourself trainer. The
Doom trainer.
What is it? The Switch Do trainer.
I don't know why, but every time you say it, I want to say Switch Do.
Switchadoo?
Switchadoo. I don't know why.
Probably because you want to switchadoo the subject, where we go on to...
Yes, please. Enough about bendy rings.
Enough about bendy rings. And now on to something that's a little bit more exciting. At least for me.
Music. Catch off guard there.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
What do you think I was going to say?
I don't know. Thought you were going to say something about, like, you enjoyed this as well, the topic, but instead, like, you were going to say, me too, but you said, music, and I was like, what? I don't even know what he said at first.
Making fun of my accent?
No. Anyways, next topic.
Making fun of my sing-songy voice, are you?
We're talking about, Square Enix, Squeenix, as they like to be called, I
like to call them squinks.
Is released... Squinks? I don't like that. It sounds offensive. They've released on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a couple, looks like Japanese companies, like music release platforms, maybe a couple, I don't know what this is, Anuita? What is that? Awa?
The only one people really care about is Spotify.
Spotify and maybe Apple Music.
Maybe.
Is Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross soundtracks are now available to listen to. For unlimited listening, the whole soundtracks, with even additional album with some vocals that were released for some of them, which is weird, but I can understand it. That's all out on Spotify now for people to listen to.
The beautiful music. I'm gonna try to pronounce his name.
Yusunori Mitsuda?
God damn it.
I just like to call him Mitsuda because it's
I was close on I got his second name, but I was nowhere close on his first name.
Yasunori? I'm pretty sure it's Yasunori.
Is it Yasunori?
Yeah, Yasunori. Mitsuda.
Just Mitsuda.
Mitsuda is...
His beautiful music.
He's probably one of the best, at least video game composers that has ever existed in anybody's life.
I feel like there's only one song that was in a video game that could even stand up against any of his music. And that's the theme for Snake Eater.
I'm not kidding you, where I was about to scream, I'm still in a dream, Snake Eater. Boop. It's so good.
Yeah, so good.
But yeah, Mitsuda is an amazing composer. He always has done great work. Chrono Trigger is probably the best, arguably one of the best video game soundtracks, at least for the SNES era. And Chrono Cross is not far behind it. If you didn't like the game,
the music was so dope.
The music was flawless for it. Listen to it for hours. I'm probably going to do that later. Oh, no, I'm not, because I got to edit the podcast. I can pretend to listen to it later. Maybe I'll put in a little clip it here and then get copyright strike.
Yeah, you can listen to tomorrow, because even though I'm sick, I struggled my way out of bed to be here to record this today. Because I didn't want to put you under pressure having to do it the day before it has to be released.
Well, thank you. That's so kind of you.
I know. The things I go through for this podcast. And it's for that reason you should, like...
Ease off you a little bit?
You should, like, and share it for my struggle.
For, one like and one share if you appreciate Kyle's struggle.
Thank you.
Thank you. But, yeah, when I'm looking at this, I just think a good move on Square Enix. And I was questioning why this happened, though. Is there something in the works? Is something going on? And Kyle actually had a good point.
I threw it out there because I'm a genius.
Yeah, I guess.
This is coming fairly recently after Nintendo pulls all of their music from YouTube. All the big music channels, they struck them all and took them down.
That had a lot of popular video game soundtracks on there. That maybe even some that weren't making money off of them.
Exactly, that weren't even monetized. So Square Enix come along and releasing this.
They're saying, first of all, F you, Nintendo, because this is our property.
Yeah. And it's like, they're pretty much just trying to make them out to be the better company when it comes to music.
I mean...
I think they're just taking advantage of the situation.
They're taking advantage of the situation that they know how upset fans were.
Oh, yeah.
That Nintendo was just like, oh yeah, music's dumb. Like, you don't need it. It's ours.
And they know how much people loved the music from those two games.
And it's one of those things that, as time goes on, people are saying, hey, just make the original soundtracks for video games available for people.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. Why should we struggle? Why should you copyright strike? It's only promoting your game. It's not like people are going to say, this is ours, give us money. There's no way that anybody's going to get away with that. If they're monetizing it, fine, I get it. Like, cut that out. But
It's like some 15-year-old from Georgia is like, oh yeah, I made this myself. And it's the Super Mario music.
But yeah, the thing is like a lot of this music too that there's been this controversy over has been it's 15, 20 years old. So just release this, let people listen to it, and let it go. And I think this is a really, really good move on Square Enix. 2 amazing soundtracks, and now I don't have to bring up YouTube. I can just use Spotify when I'm streaming, and I like to listen to my Chrono Trigger soundtrack,
Which is
and I have Chrono
so much
Cross.
easier than YouTube anyways.
And there might be more Square Enix music on there that they probably be releasing consistently that I can just listen to. So, good on you, Square Enix. Keep up the good work. You're starting to become a little less shitty. I know for a while there, everyone was like, after Squaresoft became Square Enix, it was always like, oh, right, they went downhill.
Yeah.
But this is a good move on you guys, so keep it up. Keep up with the good work.
Go in the right direction. Speaking of directions, I don't know how I'm segueing this in. I'm going to try though. Speaking of directions, CD Projekt Red are taking a new one.
Kind of.
With Cyberpunk 2077.
They're kind of taking a new direction. How about this? Let's word it like this. Some people think they're taking a wrong direction.
Yeah. But really, they're not. So, as of September 4th, 2019, Square Enix tweeted saying
Square Enix?
God,
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red tweeted, you got squinks on the line. CD Projekt Red tweeted that a multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077 has left the R&D stages.
It's officially in the works.
Now, a lot of people took this as they're now splitting their workforce to focus on multiplayer and single player, but they're completely wrong.
As we actually read what Cyberpunk has said, and they've always been honest with all the stuff that they've said.
You read the first one, and it's just announcing that it's going to happen, and they just reiterate the single player release of Cyberpunk 2077. But then, when you scroll down, they clarify a little bit more, saying that it will be delivered in April. The single player will be anyways. With free DLCs and single player content. And then once they're done with that, then the multiplayer will be a thing. So it's going to come after the fact of everything.
They're not going to be splitting their forces at release, so you don't have to worry about if there's bugs. They're not going to have time to fix it. They're literally waiting until stuff gets out there. And then they give you all the content they promised. And more. Then they're going to release the multiplayer and say, here you go. Now, you do have some people that are out there and they are complaining. They're saying, oh, you're splitting your forces. How long has this been in the works? Oh, this is going to make the game bad. You're spending too much time on this. We want third person. Which is irrelevant to this whole situation, but that's gamers for you.
That'd be like someone asking the new Call of Duty to be in third person.
What?
If a game is like, okay, this has been built from the ground up in first person, and then you going, but I want it in third person.
They did. Do you remember that time that they made it so you had a third person option in one of the Call of Duty games, and it was terrible?
Oh god, they did. It was like Modern Warfare 2 or something like that, wasn't it?
And nobody did it.
No,
because it wasn't good.
Because it was crap. I do remember that.
I don't know if they did it for the rest of the ones, to be honest.
Oh, no,
I just
didn't.
know that it wasn't. And that was like when they were first in the talks of third-person shooters.
It was Modern Warfare 3 because I
popular.
remember playing that on Dome. I think the map was. So it was, it was Modern Warfare 3.
Listen, third-person, nothing wrong with it. We're just saying this has nothing to do with the direction of where they're going for.
Yeah.
They explained this already. But when it comes to multiplayer, literally they said. We had said it was in R&D. We're thinking about what we could do with it. We don't know yet. And now as Cyberpunk 2077 is getting closer to launch the single player in April 2020, which...
I nearly said April 2077.
Yeah. In case you don't know, at this point, the only thing Cyberpunk is probably having worked on right now is bug fixing in terms of single player and fleshing like certain aspects out. The game has been worked on hard as hell for a long time, and we have September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months until release. I would say about 4 of that you're going to see maybe...
Well, a lot of games are in development up until their last month if the dev company is really into it.
Well, exactly. And I'm just saying, in terms of hard development, you're probably going to see a hard development team still focused on this for at least 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
by New Year, it'll be done.
And then by then, anything extra is just going over Q&A and having them, quality assurance and having them
play tests and things like that.
And then they go through and they fix those things. Now, that takes no work away from anybody else, especially because they probably hired a separate division or have a certain team that doesn't need to work on certain art assets because those are done.
Oh, obviously. Like, there's specific teams for, like, bug fixing and things like that. They don't need their, like, coding guys to be checking for bugs.
This is not splitting developmental resources.
No.
CD Projekt Red has been good with everything else. I think what we need to do is take a step back, let it happen. I mean, you have people that are literally, like, just, like, bent out of shape about this. Oh, why can't we just have a great single-player game for once? You mean, like, a ton of games that have come out? Just because you don't play those games doesn't mean that this can still be a great single-player game.
Do you not realize who they're saying it to? Oh, can we not have a great single-player game for once? What was the last game CD Projekt Red released?
That wasn't single-player.
Exactly. They released Witcher 3, for Christ's sake, which some people say is one of the best single-player games ever made.
I mean,
like, they give you it already. Have a little faith for once.
It's one of those things that sometimes, plus two, these developers want to add more because they see a direction of where it can go. And as long as their main direction of what they had for the game comes out, then it doesn't matter what side projects they do. This is why I didn't understand why people are so upset about Fallout 76, despite everything that, went on with it. That's neither here nor there. But, the point of it being is there are so many people that are upset and saying, oh, why do we need a multiplayer game? It's like, because Bethesda literally only ever works on those games in single player.
Yeah.
I mean, Oblivion, Skyrim,
all the Fallouts.
all the other Fallouts.
Apart from 1 and 2.
That wasn't multiplayer. I'm talking about multiplayer. Well, what they worked on. Yeah,
yes. I'm saying single player games they worked
except
on.
for that.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about, dingus? What else Bethesda has?
They make the new Doom. Even though it has multiplayer.
It had a multiplayer, but they...
Kick-ass single player.
But that was a secondary and it sucked, so they just stopped supporting it. They're like, never mind, this is bad. But they didn't shit on the single player experience to do that. Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein.
That's
another one.
Single player first. I think, did it have a multiplayer for the second one? No, it didn't, did it?
No, I don't think it did.
I don't think it did.
Because I played both of them.
The thing is people are upset because there's a lot of games that come out that are multiplayer, but there's a lot of games that come out in general.
Yeah.
The multiplayer being there isn't the problem. The problem is the people that just release games that are half-baked in their problem.
That's the issue.
It's not because they're multiplayer, it's because they go, yes, we are going to split up our resources, and instead of making a fully functional single player with some multiplayer aspects, or a fully functional multiplayer with some single player aspects, we're just going to make it all this.
Yeah.
This is the thing. If you look, there's tons of single player games out there that require nothing. I mean, what are you going to... The last few years, we've had tons of great games. I could name several. Stardew Valley, single player. They didn't even add multiplayer until later.
But even single player games that did have a multiplayer mode, that lasted the length of the game. Like the Uncharted games.
Yeah, Uncharted.
The Last of Us had multiplayer
Last of Us.
That was actually pretty fun.
You have GTA, single player. But it had, like, if you just take away the multiplayer aspects of that and just say, in terms of great single player story modes, I can name you in the last 5 years, there's been hundreds of really good ones. Just have you played them?
Yeah, there's so many.
You know what I mean? Have you played them? You can't blame them for you not playing these games because...
Like, you want a really good single player game? Have you played Kingdom Come Deliverance? Like,
it's literally, they're there for you.
So many.
They're there for you. And the people that want a great only multiplayer experience, those are there too. You just gotta find them. You can't just be so this is it. Oh, every game needs to cater to what I want. Every developer needs to make something that's only good for me, even though everyone's different.
And if, like, you're angry because a developer is making a switch from primarily single-player games to multiplayer games for one edition, i.e. Fallout 76, like, Bethesda announced 2 other games that they confirmed will be their traditional single-player. Their new IP that I forget what's called,
Starfield or something like that, yeah.
And the new Elder Scrolls. And they're like, okay, these 2 are in development, but here's Fallout 76 because we wanted to try multiplayer.
Yeah, and
this is CD Projekt Red going, right, look,
we're releasing the single player.
We dabbled in multiplayer with our card game. We kind of want to have a multiplayer in this. It's first person. It's the perfect platform to try this. and we're still going to do it all after the fact. So it's like they're doing it like the most perfect way.
And we still have people that complain. Just let it happen. Let the developers work on what they want to work on. And maybe if they weren't trying to cater to what everybody wanted all the time, they'd be able to come out with something good.
Yeah.
You ever think that maybe if they didn't have somebody yelling at every decision that they made, they'd be able to focus and make things work?
Exactly.
So that's just, I think, my opinion. I'm excited to see this because that means that an already great game that I was really excited for is going to have another aspect that could potentially keep me in, or maybe it doesn't and it sucks, but it doesn't matter because the single player is going to be great anyways. Because it takes nothing away from it.
Yeah, because they say multiplayer, but they don't specify what kind. It could be, your standard like deathmatch, free for all, capture the flag stuff, or there could be co-op stuff. We don't know.
You have no idea.
They could be like, okay, here's, your single player content, but here's some multiplayer content that's also like, you just play this with your friends. You're still fighting against AI.
Your character that you did all this thing for, now we're releasing something where you can go through and do these online things with your characters.
Exactly,
and you can
with your friends and their characters.
Yeah. So let's wait and see what actually goes on before we start complaining.
It could be dope.
We could have, a good multiplayer game, just like there's a potential that this Project Resistance,
or Project Resident Evil Assistance,
as Kyle likes to say, could be a really good multiplayer team-based game.
Yeah.
Just segue right into the next subject of, there was a trailer for a new Resident Evil spin-off called Project Resistance. We don't have much to go on here.
Yeah. All we've seen is 4 characters, 4 very unique-looking characters.
With it looks like they have different weapons and abilities.
Different
that they can
weapons,
do, like stuff.
Different outfits, ethnicities. They're all so different. Like, they fight some zombies, slow-moving ones, might I add.
Yeah, some of them look badass, and some of them look like they're just not supposed to be there.
They just look like zombies. Then there's a licker that pops up, I'm pretty sure. They're a licker at one point.
Yes, there's a licker, yep.
And then Mr. X shows up. And this just kind of looks like, as Cody calls it, Resident Evil Left 4 Dead.
It's kind of what it looks like. I think it's gonna be maybe a little bit more like objectives, maybe some waves of stuff. Kind of think of like,
I'm vibing like Left 4 Dead meets Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
If you could fight back in Dead by Daylight.
Maybe something like that, or maybe it's something along those lines. What's that? I can't think of that. There's just like the shooter that's like waves of zombies come at you and stuff like that, and they made 2 of them.
Killing Floor?
Killing Floor. Good game. I think it's going to be kind of like a cross between that, maybe like a Dead by Daylight, and...
Or maybe all 3.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a campaign that's very Left 4 Dead-esque, and then there's going to be a more like Dead by Daylight mode where you have to sneak around, and then just a straight up like wave mode where you just kill as much as you can. Right.
Now, the details are really slim right now. The only thing Capcom has said is that it's a team-based survival horror. It'd be 4 people, at least that's what we know right now. And they're just gonna beat the shit out of zombies and try to get out of where they're going. Or where they are, rather. They're trying to get out of where they are. It looks interesting. I can't say if it's gonna be a good game. I know that some of the side projects for Resident Evil aren't always good, but we have to remember that this is coming off of a couple of really good releases and some teams that are probably working really well on it.
7/Biohazard, and then the remake. Like, 2 kick-ass games back to back. And then going into this, I feel like they're not going to try... They're not going to want to mess up.
Right. I'm not looking for like the next best, greatest game, but I think we're going to have ourselves a really interesting game, and you could probably have some fun with it. At least, I would say you probably could get a good 40 hours of fun at least, and it's probably worth whatever money you're going to spend.
And to clarify to people, this isn't the next Resident Evil game.
No, spin-off.
This isn't titled Resident Evil.
No.
The RE is highlighted in the title, but it's not actually a Resident Evil game. It's just in the world of Resident Evil.
Exactly. It's gonna have the some of the characters and some of like probably the objects and stuff, and it's gonna have the zombie theme.
There's probably going to be like options for different skins, so you could play as like old school Chris or whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be just a spin-off game. Think of like Raccoon City, except for hopefully actually good.
Yeah.
Because Raccoon City
had so much potential.
But it came out during a time when before this sort of like team-based objective shooters and stuff was like
a thing,
and so it wasn't fleshed out enough. So I'm hoping that this will be better,
a little bit better. But speaking of things possibly getting better, on Tuesday, September 10th, the long-awaited summer update for Red Dead Online dropped.
Something that is
It has been long awaited since it was announced.
A lot of people, I think, are thinking it'll bring life back in the game, yeah?
A large majority of people, yeah. Because Red Dead Online suffered for content before this. There wasn't a lot. You'd go around, do stranger missions, and then you'd go through and just do death matches. And that was it, really. There was nothing else.
Just run around and do nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. But what this has introduced is 3 main things. It's added 3 roles/jobs, as well as a battle pass, or an outlaw pass as they call it. Now, I'll start with the outlaw pass because it's shorter. Pretty much what that is you pay 35 gold at the start of a season, which is a hefty amount of gold, and there's 70 levels. You progress through those 70 levels and you unlock unique items, clothing items, horses, animations, guns, things like that. And throughout it you get gold pieces that by the end of it add up to 35 gold. So the idea is you spend this money, but if you do it all in the time period, you get your gold back.
Oh, okay.
Which incentivizes you to buy the next pass, and so on and so forth. Which is, it's clever on their behalf. It's like, okay,
it's a way to keep a loop going.
You're going to have to spend money off the bat to get it first, but if you keep playing the game, you'll never have to do it again. Plus you get all these cool things, which I think is smart of Rockstar. Sneaky, but smart.
That's how you keep people in the game. You create a fun loop, and it can keep people in the game. It shouldn't look like a loop, and it shouldn't make you feel like it's tedious, but it should be something that's definitely a loop that's fun to do.
And it's rewarding.
Yes.
So yeah, they added that, but then they added the roles, which are
interesting.
Very interesting. You can now be a collector, bounty hunter, or a trader, which is interesting. You think of how these roles work in a multiplayer game. Well, pretty much how you think. If you're a bounty hunter, you go to bounty boards and you collect bounties.
And you hunt people and turn them in, dead or alive.
Yeah.
And you get a reward for it.
At the start, they're NPC bounties only. Also, dead or alive. Obviously, alive is worth more.
Right.
Bounty hunter gets access to a lot of cool items as they progress. If you pick the bounty hunter role, you learn how to spin your pistol.
Ooh.
Like, like a show-off kind of like doing flips and stuff, Revolver Ocelot style. You get like a reinforced lasso, a bounty wagon, which is like this big...
Reinforced lasso? What is it? Coated in Teflon?
Yeah. Probably. You get that, you get like a bounty wagon that's like has metal plates on it that when you put people inside it, they can't get out. And it's like, oh, well, why'd you need that for an NPC? That's because I believe when you reach rank 12, if a player in your lobby gets a high enough bounty, a bounty is actually placed on them for you that you can go and collect. So obviously in the game you can break out of a lasso and you can break out of a reinforced one, but if you have your wagon, you chase down this person, use your new bolos that you have to subdue them, put them in the back of the wagon and they can't get out. And then you go and you drop them off and you get your bounty off an actual real life player.
Couldn't there be like some sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Griefing,
where you just lock someone inside it and then you just sit there forever and let them sit there?
That's the smart thing. I'm pretty sure you could only do it to people who have bounties on them.
Right, but let's say someone gets a bounty.
If you get a high enough bounty, you probably are a griefer. That's the clever thing about it.
So you just grief the griefer.
It has to get high enough, and it's pretty much punishing you for being a dickhead in the game.
That's cool.
So you can roleplay and be like, oh yeah, I'm an outlaw and have to outrun these people. But then if you're just a knobhead, it's like, well, screw you, we're just going to chuck you in here anyways.
And then just leave them in there
just leave them in there for as long as you want, because they're
until they quit the server and have to get
Exactly, because they added a feature in one of their smaller updates where you could press charges, where pretty much all that does, it gives them an honor decrease and increases their bounty a little further. So if someone keeps killing you over and over again, their bounty increases more and more each time. So someone could keep killing you over and over and over and over again, get a bounty on them, and then 4 bounty hunters can show up out of nowhere and just throw them in the back of a wagon and kill them over and over again. It's very much like the anti-griefer role.
There you go. That's a fun one.
Which is pretty fun. All the bounties seem to be fairly unique for the NPCs. Like some of them you have to sneak through, or it's like straight up like gunfight, or like a horse chase. They're all fairly unique so far from what I've seen. And then you have more passive ones. The trader,
which is I like trading and stuff in games. Yeah. It's a fun and interesting like mechanic that you can like create a shop and do stuff like that. So it's interesting.
You quite literally become a trader. You set up your camp as a trading post.
You hunt people, or not people, animals. You hunt people and sell them. Steal their shit.
No, that's the collector. We'll get to that. No, the trader, you hunt animals and pelts and materials and stuff like that. You bring them back, you stock up in barrels and crates, then you load them up in your wagon, and then like in GTA Online, you pick your destination where you're going to sell to. Longer one is more profitable. You get on there, you ride along, you sell your goods.
Okay.
You level up on that, you can get a dog to guard your camp. That will bark anytime bandits are going to attack your camp.
Will you attack
Because
them?
if you have like a lot of supplies in your camp, either I think players or NPC bandits could attack at any time. That if you reach a certain amount, if you're really profitable. Cody's ramming me with his chair.
Sorry.
He's trying to assert dominance. But I'm not moving because my chair doesn't have wheels. Anyways, yeah, you can get a dog, a lantern for your horse, little things like that. Cool things.
A lantern for you.
It just seems like really fun, not too aggressive, nice passive gameplay.
Right.
Then the collector kind of comes across as a middle ground between the two.
Really?
Where pretty much what he does is collects things. So he hunts for treasure. He has a little metal detector to find spots in the ground. If he reaches a certain rank, his like hunting vision shows like recently disturbed earth is highlighted. So you can go there and dig with your spade to find treasures and stuff like that. But then at the same time, they increased how much money you get for selling jewellery that you loot off dead bodies. Which I always feel like, okay, you have a guy who loves collecting treasure, and you're increasing the amount of money you get off dead body jewellery.
So it's just kill people.
It's kind of like you can either be your nice collector, or you could be like a grave robber. That's how I like to see it. That's how you can play your character. And I'm pretty sure there are missions for the collector that involves grave robbing.
That's kind of cool.
I seen a screenshot of someone in a grave. So there are 3 really unique roles that have so much to them. Now it costs 15 gold for each role, which adds up to 45 gold, which would cost you about $20 in real life. Not a necessity, you can grind that out. It'd take a while, you can do it, but you pay the $20, you get your 3 rolls, and then that's it, you have them. So it's their kind of way of making money straight up off the bat, and then going on to make a little bit more money off, obviously the season pass they've added. Well, not season pass, their outlaw pass, which is I think it's a smart way of doing it. It's not been really obvious in like grabbing your money, but it's just enough that they still turn a profit. And as someone who's played it, I can very much say that firstly, the servers have had a lot less griefers in them, so a lot less assholes running around, more people getting into like roleplay.
Right.
So I'd seen people like leading their horse down the street of Valentine by the lead, hitching it at the saloon, going in for a drink, having a guy come in, like stand close to them, and you'd see them kind of like raise their hand slightly to their gun. The other guy would do it and they'd sit there for a minute, and then one of them would put their hand down and the other would do it and they'd just go their separate ways. Like really little things like that have started to happen.
That's kind of cool.
You'd see like traders and collectors like in the same areas, kind of like going around. Traders would either like help them out, or the collectors would get like really protective because they found somewhere to dig, but they wouldn't like open fire right away because people are now discouraged against that.
Right, and they
because
don't want
if I pop this trader, the bounty hunter down the road is going to come after me and I'm going to lose this treasure. Or if I dig it up, he could probably take it.
Right.
So it's like, it's added a balance between the 3. And if you pay attention to the wording of their newsletters, this is the first 3. So they've implied that they're going to have more.
So to me, what it sounds like is that Red Dead Online, they realized that they released their online mode and it was pretty trash.
Yeah.
They realized that there wasn't a lot to it. There wasn't much to do. It's not the same as GTA where you can just be like, oh, there's nothing to do, but you still have like some of these things.
Yeah, it's not like you
still have fun. Because at least then you have cars and you have like
creative races and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like in this, there's not a lot of that. So they were dumb and they didn't realize that they couldn't release it in the same way because it doesn't have enough that you can just kind of like come up with, right? But they're trying to fix that, and this could be a good way to kind of bring life back to Red Dead Online and make people actually want to play it instead of just like, because to be honest, for several months now, I haven't heard anything on Red Dead Online. Like Red Dead's news has kind of stopped. Yeah,
like this was supposed to be the summer update. This was supposed to come out. People were expecting early August.
But they probably wanted to finish working on it.
And then there was not a word from them. And then they released a newsletter and like, oh, here's like the specific roles. Here's more info about the items you'll unlock. And then they're like, oh, September 10th. That's when you'll get it. And it came out. It seems to be doing well. Not a lot of bad things said about it. couple of complaints here and there, like you'll always get.
Oh yeah, of course, but
like, little things, like one of the outfits that you can get, you can't individually add the bandolier, the bullet strap across your chest. You can't individually take that and put on other outfits. It's locked to that specific complete outfit.
Oh, who cares?
Like, people complaining about that.
Yeah, well, everyone complains about dumb stuff.
But it's like, give them 4 weeks, that's probably going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
It's like, it's very minor things.
Overall, it seems like no matter what, it's a beneficial.
Overall, it is a massive step in the right direction.
Cool.
That if they have another one like this before the end of the year, we'll go into 2020 with Red Dead Online been a thing.
That sounds good. Sounds like a lot of people have something to look forward to. If you are into Red Dead Redemption, but you couldn't really get into online, try it now, see how you feel about the update, and see how things go.
And if you're really iffy about having to spend 45 gold
I don't even
to
know
get the 3 rolls,
what it takes to get 40.
So gold is like the microtransaction money. So it costs like about $20, €20 to get that amount of gold. But if you have given up on Red Dead Online and log back on, you get a one-time offer where you get enough gold to get at least 2 of the rolls, I think, for like 3/4 of the price. So it's like €20, $20. If you get this one-time offer, it's only 5 for the same amount.
And is that the only way to get the rolls, is to pay money?
You have to pay with gold, but if you collected all the playing cards in GTA Online, you get, I think,
one of the rolls.
You get the collector roll for free.
And if
Twitch Prime,
you get one of the rolls.
You get the Bounty Hunter for free.
And then if you play on PlayStation...
If you play on PlayStation, you automatically get the collector roll for free.
Trader,
yeah.
I think it's Trader.
Whichever one it is.
Trader, Collector.
Yeah. You get them for free, just flat, because they have the whole...
So everyone has a potential to get...
Pretty much.
They have a potential to get one of the rolls.
It's like, if you play GTA Online, you can get one for free. If you play on PlayStation, you already have one for free.
Yeah.
And if you have Twitch Prime, you have one for free.
Yeah, so it seems like it's pretty straightforward. If you are okay with spending... I mean, I wish that it didn't cost real world money and you could get it all yourself. I think that'd be a little bit better. But, like, even if it was just a grindy...
Yeah, like, you can still grind to get it. Like, it isn't that difficult, because they did increase the amount of gold you get from doing missions and things like that.
Okay, so you do get gold from doing missions.
Oh yeah, you can get it in-game.
Okay, so you can do it.
It's like, I've never bought gold in Red Dead Online, and I think I have 28 gold at the moment, and I've spent about 30 gold in total.
So, like, it's spare, but it's not crazy.
It's doable if you're willing to put the time in to do it.
So then you should definitely check it out, especially if you have some gold to check it out. Or at least check and see how you like the feel of what Red Dead is feeling like now it's got a little bit more.
What the world is like, at least.
Yeah. Speaking of good ideas and trying to, attract more players and more people to their game, Hideo Kojima, Death Stranding's creator currently, is just talked about how they're releasing a very easy mode for Death Stranding when it's released.
But it's not just like, oh, we're going to make it easy for you just because, oh, it might be a bit difficult. He specifically said it's for movie fans.
It's literally a game mode where either it's so easy or it barely has any of the gameplay features for people that just want to experience the movie aspect of the game.
Yeah,
because
he said like combat is like turned down and stuff like that.
According to Hideo Kojima,
Hideo.
According to Kojima, word for word, normally there's only easy mode, but we added very easy mode for movie fans since we have real actors like Norman, Mads, Leah starred in. I don't know, that's translation.
Yeah.
Even Yano-san, who has never completed the first stage of Pac-Man, was able to complete the game on very easy mode. So what it sounds like to me is this is a very, 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 very dumbed down version of the game, like the gameplay mechanics, but
all the story is still there.
All the story, so you can still enjoy the story. And to be fair, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
That actually sounds pretty cool, given that it's built like a movie so far.
It's a way to... So I'm assuming the game's going to be kind of like... I would assume the difficulty is probably going to be like Phantom Pain. Where it can be really hard sometimes. Like,
it just
if you want to do stuff
play.
good, yes, it can be really hard. Like, doing sneaking and not caught missions, like where you don't ever get caught,
like, super hard,
is nuts in Phantom Pain. I remember starting over so many times to get the ghost bonuses and stuff like that. But
then doing like a lethal run, it's like, oh, you can go in with your assault rifle,
or you literally just
call in a helicopter and bomb the place.
or literally just go in with like the same, like you can still do sneaky, but just go in with your silenced pistol and just kill them, and so it didn't matter if they ever woke up or anything happened again. But the very easy mode in this is going to be, I think, an interesting way to get people that aren't necessarily gamers to be able to still enjoy this and see like the sort of movie aspects to it. And I wouldn't be surprised, and this is me just taking a hot take right now, just like of what I would say I would picture seeing. I'd be very surprised if we don't get like a little mini YouTube series or something like that, where they release just the video aspects of it, or like some sort of movie where you can take all of it and you get a movie form of this game. You
have to remember as well that Kojima's new studio is owned by Sony.
Yeah. So they can do...
Sony make movies. They have a film studio.
They can do any of that. They can literally just take it and have him fill in certain things and just make it a little bit better.
They could just go to him like, look, let's make this a movie.
And all that would take would be adding probably like a...
transition scenes to replace traveling from place to place.
Exactly.
That would be it.
That's all it would take. Just like make it so it's like more movie based, and everyone I'm sure would be more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just a really quick thing that we want to talk about. It's really cool that wish more companies would do that. I know that not all games nowadays are super story based as much as this is probably going to be, but
when they are, they should.
There are some games where have a really, 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 really hard mode, and then have a really, 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 really easy mode. Why not?
Have both ends of that stick.
Have all the modes available.
Yeah.
So anybody can try to play it. Because the thing is normal mode really isn't... I remember I was looking at this, watching this video. It's a really interesting video, and if I can find a link for it, I'll put it in. But it was talking about how normal mode in video games actually isn't normal. It's actually easy. And that there's a lot of things in video games that are like dumbed down to make things like the true experience. And so playing a game on any other difficulty except for the normal is because that's the base. Normal doesn't mean it's going to have a normal difficulty. It just means that's the difficulty that they intended the game to necessarily be at.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that can hold your hand that you wouldn't know about. Like there's several games where there's things in place where if you were to like get shot at, and some of the Call of Duty games I think is what it was if you get shot at in the single player mode, you actually get, and this is on normal mode, you actually get an extra like 3 hits where you don't die from it, you don't take damage. Yeah. But the only real difference between that and like the hard mode was you don't get that.
And so 3 hits.
Was like 3 extra hits that it doesn't seem like you're getting. It just seems like you're being super awesome, badass, like defying getting killed.
Yeah. It's like Epic Games back in the day, as well as Coalition now, said that Gears of War should be played on the hardest difficulty. That when they do all their play testing and stuff like that, they do it on the hardest difficulty just because they feel like that's how it's supposed to be. They feel like it's supposed to be like relentless and grueling, and it's supposed to be just not fun to get through.
Right.
But they're like, we keep it at normal because obviously not everyone is into that.
Exactly.
But it's like, but if you are into that, that's 100% how you should play it.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. We should be adding these things when they come up. Speaking about Gears of War, actually.
That also came out on Tuesday.
Number 5, that is.
Gears 5. It's not even Gears of War anymore.
No, it's just Gears
5.
That's stupid.
It's stupid, but Gears of War hasn't been called Gears of War since, like, the second one.
But why?
Because Gears of War is a mouthful.
But I mean...
Because there was Gears of War and God of War.
But why not just call it that, though?
What?
Why change the name? Why just shorten it instead of just leaving it Gears of War and just calling it Gears 5?
Because then the abbreviation of it is GOW, and the abbreviation of God of War is GOW.
Is that really, like, one of the reasons? That's stupid.
Pretty much.
That's dumb,
I remember that being a big thing back when Epic used to make the games.
That's dumb, though.
People used to always mix up their games for God of War.
Oh my god.
Like, they'd see articles of people putting, like, God of War screenshots and talking about Gears of War. And talking about Gears of War and putting God of War screenshots. Like, it's because they'd search, like, GOW3.
Oh, okay,
and they'd get the first picture that came up.
People are dumb, then.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, though.
Gears 5 came out on Tuesday. Great day, so it was. You know, got Red Dead and Gears, and I got sick. Yeah, but I stayed up late to play it. I started playing at like 12, and I blew through it up until about 4 or 5 a.m. I think, and then started to feel my sickness. Went to bed.
Started to feel down with the sickness, yeah.
Yeah, slept for most of the day, got up, and then went back down, played a bit more of it, then got a notification saying that the Red Dead update dropped and went to play that. So I've only gotten about 3/4 of the way through the game, as of right now. By the time this goes out, I've finished it. I'll probably finish it this evening.
Right.
But,
overall, what would you say?
I'm impressed with it. I feel like it feels like Gears of War. Like, it handles like Gears, it looks like Gears. It's a very Gears of War story, about 12 hours long. You know, run-of-the-mill stuff. Multiplayer, basic Gears of War multiplayer. Don't expect anything special. But if you're playing it for the single player, like a surprising amount of people do, it's actually a really good story. It carries on very well from Gears 4, almost immediately. They even have a little option to get like a previously on, so you can get a little recap.
Oh, that's cool.
Voice acting in it's good. But the biggest praise I have to give it is graphics, surprisingly.
Yeah, you were saying that.
It looks really pretty, like just graphically, texture-wise, animation-wise. But then, when you get into like lighting, so when you're above ground, it's all bright and really vibrant and beautiful. And then when you go underground, if your brightness is at the setting they recommend, it's just pitch black. And the only light you get is the blue emanating off your armor.
Ooh, a little spooky.
And then, like, your muzzle flashes will light up a tunnel. So in the first mission, you go into, like, the sewer tunnel. And a bunch of juvies, they're called. They're like these little tiny guys that run at you and die in, like, 2 hits. But there's about 40 of them. And they charge at you down this tunnel. But if your darkness is low enough, you don't see them when they drop down. But you hear them. And then, obviously, you'll aim your gun and start to shoot because you'll know they're there.
Right.
And the tunnel lights up and you see them through the muzzle flashes. And then your little robot will come up behind you and shine the light in front of you. So it's literally just a flashlight view down this tunnel as they flood out towards you.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really well done. And it's...
So it sounds like it's a really good cinema. It sounds like they put a lot into the story because they knew that there was a lot of people that were into it. Because for a while there, it was all just... From what I remember, there was good story elements to it, but most people were like, oh yeah, gritty gameplay. Oh yeah, this is intense. Blood and death and gore. And
I think they've kind of realised that's not enough to carry a game anymore.
Yeah.
Back in like the mid-2000s, yeah. But
I think, was it 3 or 4 that like people were like, I don't know.
I think it was 3.
The story was just like,
I think some people with 3 and then some people with 4. I think it was very split.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think you're right. It was kind of split, and it was just kind of like,
yeah, it was just like, yeah, don't really care, really. Like in Gears of War 3, people only cared about Marcus and Dom, which are the 2 main characters.
That's what it was, and everything else, I remember now.
No one gave a crap about
everything else was like pointless, like side stuff that like should never even talked about. Like, they were saying
it's like world expansion and just throwing stuff out,
but
there
it wasn't
never
good.
Been mentioned.
Yeah, and but like the story behind like the 2 like main characters was really good.
Oh yeah, like Marcus and Dom. By the time you reach Gears of War 3, it's like you're more invested in them than they are in each other. Like, you grow this attachment. Like, through the first game, they're very, cut and dry action heroes. Then Gears of War 2 adds in, like, Dom's wife into the mix and makes them really human. Then Gears 3 adds, like, this whole, oh, the world's gone to shit now, really? And what's the point in doing anything anymore? Like, kind of like this hopelessness, which was just, like, a beautiful little story arc. Then they had Gears 4, and it's like, okay, time skip, things are different. Pretty much what happened in the first game is happening again. And people are like, oh great, that's all it is. We get to play with their kids and no one gives a crap.
Yeah, ooh, same thing, different, same shit, different toilet.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, Gears 5, you want more of that dynamic? Well, here you go. From the get-go, we're going to have this almost struggle between Marcus and his son. Just off the bat, this conflict of interest. Spoilers, but minor spoilers. It's very much like JD starts to act like Marcus does in the first 3 games. And Marcus at this point is old and grizzled, and it's like, no, don't do that, you're a dumbass. And that's pretty much their like dynamic, and it grows and changes and evolves and goes backwards and forwards. It's very well written, powerful voice acting. The character of Kate, which takes very center stage in this one, voiced by the girl who voiced Serana in Skyrim, that I learned the other day.
Oh,
very interesting.
Interesting.
Really good character. Really like a conflicted character. Really well-written story for your bloody third-person shooter.
Alright. So, overall, Let me know, does this give you your, Kyle's The Geek Cause seal of approval so far with what you've played? Or would you...
I haven't finished it yet, but I will say...
So far.
At this moment, as of now, I'm looking forward to the next one.
You're looking forward to the next game?
Yeah. If they make a Gears 6, which I've heard that they are, one of the reviews I read says that...
Why didn't they just make 5 longer than 12 hours if they're going to already talk about releasing a new game?
Well, they haven't announced it. There's just people saying that it very much
if they're already
feels
talking
like
about it, though.
Yeah. Like, reviewers and stuff like that are saying, oh, it's very much set up for a next game. So if they do make a next one, which they probably will, I'll buy it release day.
Okay, so you're
seal
saying
of approval.
So far, based on the 3/4 probably that you've gotten through, you would say Kyle's The Geek Cause seal of approval.
I checked my percentage because there's an achievement tracker for like completing every mission in every act.
Yeah.
So you can see your exact percentage through the story.
I hate that though, because then it tells you like
how close you are to the end,
and you're like when you have like 98%, you're like, oh, this is the last thing I do.
Yeah. When I finished playing yesterday, I was about 76 or 77% of the way through.
Okay, then you're close.
I'm close enough. I probably have about 1 act left. So I'm looking forward to it.
Finish it and then
I will give an update because the ending could change it.
Give us an update and we'll see where you go from there.
Ending can make or break a game. That's all I'll say.
And the ending can make or break GameStop depending on what happens with what they're doing now.
GameStop.
In case you don't know, GameStop has been underperforming a little bit. I believe they were $415 million under projected revenues.
I didn't know they were that far under.
Yeah, I think it's $415 million, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's also, it's for the quarter they were under that, and it's also, they make a lot of money. So being $415 million is like, okay, they didn't make $2 billion like they projected. They made $1.5 billion. Oh, woohoo! But
it's still a hefty loss, but not like enough to break the camel's back.
No, but it makes sense because they're having this talk of restructuring and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. They were down 15%. Their stocks as well,
right?
Because they talked about their bad quarter. Yeah. So their stock, which 15%. In the stock trading world, I guess that is pretty good, but it's really not that bad. So it sounds like investors haven't completely given up. If it's only went
that's
down
more
15%.
of a little dip.
But in order to kind of combat this a little bit, they are over the next year to 2 years are going to be doing the restructuring that we've talked about before. But they also are going to start cutting out underperforming stores. About 180 to 200 underperforming stores globally. So basically, they're shutting down roughly 200 stores that they feel like aren't doing good enough to
pretty
sustain
much the ones that aren't turning a profit.
Now, according to the GameStop CFO James Bell, he did say that they have over 5,700 stores, and that 95% of them were profitable. But that does mean, unfortunately, that about 5%, depending on if we can take his information as true, but obviously he's only going to say so much, but 5% isn't that bad, but of 5,700, I could see you're probably going to have to cut out about 200 stores if you want to start seeing a good plan. Now, to me, this isn't that big of a deal because 200 of that for one is not a lot. You're still at 5,500 stores.
That's still a crap load of stores.
And they are going through a restructuring, you know?
Yeah.
It is something that they plan on changing up a big, huge model of what they're doing. And now I hope that their idea isn't to open up different stores and do these ideas that they have. I hope it's just to restructure a lot of the GameStops.
Yeah, from what it sounds like is that they're just shutting these stores for good.
And what's going on with it is they are saying that the reason why they had a bad earnings is because the release, what is it? The way that the new consoles were released, like told that when they're going to be released, were way ahead of time. And so they're saying because of that, people are slowing down their buying because they're waiting for the new consoles to come out. And
which, when they say it that way, you could kind of see the reasoning there.
I could see that does take a dip.
Yeah, it's not their main reasoning, but it would definitely be a reasoning.
So what I think this sounds like to me though is they're cutting down stores that aren't making a profit, and they're just making sure that they're trying to talk it up as good as possible. But when it comes down to it, there's going to be like 200 stores closing down. I would guarantee that at least 60% of the people that are working aren't going to get another job at a GameStop. They're not going to be able to.
No.
I guarantee at least 60%.
Yeah.
I would say more of the higher ups will probably have a chance to go somewhere else, like transfer to a different store, but they're not going to probably take care of most people. So it is a shitty situation. But
for a lot of people, but looking at it from a corporate point of view,
there's a chance, since it's only 200 stores, that they really are just trying to fix the issues that they're having.
They're very much culling the herd that isn't healthy to stop the rest of them getting sick.
So they're expecting over the next 3 to 4 quarters, until the end of this console, that they're going to have some issues with money. They're also just saying that because they know that since they're going to be spending the next 2 years restructuring, they want to make sure people are ready to know that they're going to be down money because they're going to be spending a lot of time restructuring, a lot of funds restructuring.
Which makes sense.
And we've talked about this before, but we are excited for the restructuring because the way that GameStop and most game stores, physical game stores, are handling their stuff it's not good. It's not good enough anymore.
No.
It's not good enough. It's not the same as like a supermarket. You're not getting the same sort of experience from it.
I think we've said this every time we've mentioned GameStop, that it's like, you don't go to a game store specifically to buy a game anymore. You'll go somewhere where you can buy multiple things. Exactly.
And the way that they're performing now is they need to do something different, and this is their chance. And so I'm hoping that this isn't a sign of them going down the shitter and they're trying to just cut off sections of stores while they can. And I'm hoping
this is just them trying to be smart with their money.
Trying to be smarter with their money instead of opening up nearly 6,000 stores.
Yeah.
We were talking about how, their store locations for some of the places were stupid.
Yeah, they're 10 minutes apart.
in my hometown, we literally at one point had a store that was less than 5 minutes from the mall store, which was less than 5 minutes from a different store, which means all the stores were in a 10-minute or less drive from each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, they did that to buy up a lot of stuff, and it made sense for the time period, but now it's time to get away from that, get rid of some of these stores that are underperforming, and let's start looking towards something better.
Which is happy. But speaking of things sort of changing, but not changing.
At all.
Yeah, no, they're not changing at all, really. The new iPhone was announced yesterday, I believe. Yes, September 10th. They announced the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro. Now, what's different about this one from the iPhone 10? Was it even called the iPhone 10?
It's called the iPhone X.
Oh, iPhone X, sorry. Roman numerals.
Yeah, the cool way of doing things when it's 10. But why isn't this XI then?
Because that's not cool enough.
Exactly. It doesn't sound cool anymore.
That just looked like the iPhone X1.
Stupid.
But yeah, they announced it, and it looks the same.
I mean, this is all I'm going to say. Whether you're iPhone or your Android, phones nowadays are only going to be able to progress so much, right?
Yeah.
And right now, what you're looking at is iPhone has been the same for the last about 7 generations, I would say. About 6 or 7.
The last big jump was the jump they made from the iPhone 4, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not saying anything against Apple themselves. I'm not. It's a lot of companies, but, I mean, there's no big difference. So the big difference that you have here is you have cameras that have 12 megapixel wide and ultra wide cameras and 120 degree field of view. You'll also have, I guess, I don't know if it's like a new CPU. I think it's like an A13 Bionic CPU chip is what they call it, which I don't know if that's anything special because I'm pretty sure the last chip that they used was just called the A12.
Yeah.
And then the one before that was the A11. So I don't know if
it's their quote unquote upgrade to make it sound impressive, but probably it's not that different.
So it has a little bit better specs for a phone, as good as you could probably get for the time. The cameras apparently can shoot in 4K. Cool. No one needs 4K, especially on your phone.
No. Especially the last iPhone could shoot in 4K, and that's
no
fine.
One cared.
You can't get any more than that.
No one cared either, though. This is the thing: is 4K is cool, but
people who care about 4K
are the
people who would spend $700 to buy a camera.
Yes, not an iPhone. So it's fine, whatever. Android is doing the same, has always done the same thing as well, but the only difference is at least Android tries to take some risk with some of the things that they do.
Yeah,
so you'll see like bevels, you'll see like them go into like a phablet sort of like, almost like a tablet sort of stylus sort of handheld. You see at least certain differences. Some might do like a foldable phone. Some might do like a flip type of phone, but make it still the same. That's like an innovative, but unfortunately, iPhone doesn't take the risk. And it's fine because they always do well and people always buy their stuff. But if you're looking for something creative and innovative and amazing with these new iPhones, you're not going to see that.
Like, if you want to buy the best one out of these, which was the iPhone 11 Pro Max, you'll be looking at $1,100 before tax. That's just flat order, which is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But if you're buying it for, the actual specs and tech of it, you'd have a much better time going and buying it's the new Samsung Galaxy, isn't it?
It's not even new at this point. It came out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Well, it's new, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of this phone world.
Beginning of the year has the same camera setup.
Samsung 10.
Yeah. Has the same camera setup, which is 3 cameras that shoot at, like, in or around 12 megapixels and can shoot in 4K and do all those things. And honestly, after a phone, does anyone care about what it does after that?
Yeah.
Anymore?
And it's the same price, except for the difference is you're not, it's the same price or potentially a little bit cheaper, and you aren't locked into the Apple, like the iOS. If you don't like iOS, because nothing's changed with it.
Yeah. And
if you don't like the fact that nothing's changed with it, then yeah, you're much better off, especially because there's like interesting features that they've been trying to do with Android. Listen, I'm obviously an Android user, and that's fine if you're iPhone. I think the issue here is, though, the only difference they did with this is they made the cameras look big and ugly, and like...
They look like a fidget spinner on the front of your phone.
It's real bad.
Like, if you look at the cameras on the Samsung, they're in like this bar at the front with the flash and the microphone. It looks really sleek.
It looks nice.
It doesn't stand out. On the iPhone, it's literally just 3 big black circles.
It looks like an alien
that will
staring
either
at you.
Make you laugh because of all the memes that have been made about it, or will freak you out because you have trypophobia.
And, it's not, there's nothing different about the phone except for that.
Yeah.
You got 6.1 inch, which is like, maybe like I think like 0.1 inch bigger than the other one, or like something like that. You have the extra camera, you have same, like, the colors of the iPhones have always been cool, that they release a different, array of colors.
Like, the base price one, the $700 one, the only difference between that and the last phone, really, is that it can last 1 hour longer.
That's about it. And then the CPU probably is a tiny bit more powerful.
But with iPhones, CPU really doesn't matter, because
you can't do it.
By 12 months later, they'll release an update that is going to restrict your CPU, slow your phone down. So in the next 8 months, you're ready to buy a new phone.
I think we want to talk about this just to kind of like say, like, yes, it came out. If you like Apple and you like iPhone and iOS, here you go. Get your next gen of iPhone where it's the same thing. I mean, it's pretty bad when you already have people that, like, usually are really pro iPhone that are coming out and saying, like, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
But, whatever. I guess if you like it, you like it. And that's really all I think that we have to say about that.
Yeah, if you like it, get it. You do you. But if you're contemplating it, our professional opinion... And we are not qualified in any way. We are just...
I'm almost qualified in A+, and I know like in terms of specs and stuff that's available for your phone and what you can do with it.
Oh, yeah, like, I know like a fair bit as well. I wouldn't call myself qualified by any means, but I would at the same time. Try to seem humble here, Cody. God. If you're a person who's contemplating it, don't buy it. If you're going to spend $1,000 on a phone, buy a Samsung, buy an Android phone.
If you're gonna spend $1,000 on a phone, reevaluate your life, and wait a year and see if maybe they change that one.
Yeah,
a little bit more, and or at least wait for the price to go down on this. This is not an early buy. Do not buy this early. There's no point, but you're gonna see tons of lines for it, and it's gonna whatever. That's fine.
I hope the guy, I think he was in Sweden or something, where he queued to get, I think it was the iPhone X,
smashed it,
and he glued it to the floor. outside of the shop.
And it's like was really tough glue, and everyone tried to grab it.
No one could get it off.
Yeah.
And the one person who did broke it.
Yep. So
yeah, I hope he does that again. It's because it's funny.
But as for that, that's it for the podcast this week.
That is all. How many topics was that, Cody?
I don't know. We did a lot this week. It was nice though. I sometimes I like just going through several short topics instead of like
just big one, big one, big one.
Yeah, I think it kind of like it allows us to get through points a little bit quicker, but also kind of talk. I mean, we got a standard length podcast right now.
Yeah,
it's not like anything.
That's actually surprising. I thought we went for a lot longer.
Yeah, and it was a good time, and we hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
As always, we appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to us. Please, please, please tell your friends about us. Give us a like, give us a share.
You have to like and share for my health. I don't know how much longer I have.
Unless he gets 5 likes and 5 shares to say we support you, then he might not live.
Then if I don't get that, I could die. It's like on Facebook when it says 1 like equals 1 prayer.
Yeah, or 1 like equals $1, but like who's doing that and who's supplying that?
But I'm saying that's real, and it's happening to me.
So yeah, we need 5 likes and 5 shares to save Kyle's life.
Or my evil twin Lyle will be on the podcast next week.
And I fucking hate that kid.
I even hate him.
Lyle is annoying.
Oh, he's a dickhead.
He loves causing trouble. He's very chaotic, evil.
Oh yeah.
He has no redeeming qualities, and he stinks, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, so...
He smells really bad. At least Kyle smells good.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that I can say nice about Kyle, but at least he smells good.
I smell good.
And...
I will take that.
But yeah, please, we would love for you guys to just kind of like share it. Let us know that you support us. Give us some feedback. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer some questions. But other than that...
Oh, and also, before we call off, I'd like to interrupt you at this time.
Interrupt me?
Last week, I mentioned that I was going to start ranting on all our social medias.
Yes.
That was going to start this week, but since I felt sick, I did not have the mental capacity.
Hold them accountable.
To, structure sentences together. So, as soon as I'm fit, if you get the 5 likes and 5 shares, they will start immediately because I will be healthy again.
Yeah, he'll be healthy again.
Yeah. See, doubling up on things here.
We'll keep holding him accountable for that, but...
And if you join our Discord, you'll be able to keep up to date with my health.
So, yeah, that's what I was about to say, is if you join the Discord, link will be in the description of the podcast. If you are listening on iTunes or Spotify, I don't know if the link will be there, but you can check it out at, if you go to our Facebook page, The Geek Cause at Facebook, or at The Geek Cause, you can check us out on Twitter and Instagram, where we have updates for everything.
Do we have that in our bio on Instagram?
No, I think we need to put that on.
We probably should.
Yeah.
So by the time this goes up, the Discord link will be in the bio on Instagram.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to do more and more and put stuff more on there and keep certain things updated. I have my wife helping us out because she's a lovely, lovely woman. And also, streams are still going on. You can check that out. I stream on both Twitch and Mixer now.
I've seen that.
Twitch.tv/TheGeekCause_ because I can't have a hyphen for Twitch, Cody. And for Mixer, it is mixer.com /TheGeekCause-Cody.
There you go.
I stream on both, and I'd love to see you guys. I've been getting quite a few interactions, so it'll be nice. I've been streaming a lot of WoW Classic lately.
I was just about to say that. When WoW Classic, just before it came out, you're like, oh, I probably won't play it that much. I'll take it easy on it. I've seen you stream a consistent 3 hours of that game every time, and you've been doing it 3 times a week.
I think on my character with my brother-in-law, we're at 20 hours now, so it's not that bad.
Oh, that's not too that bad.
No, usually in the morning I'll either play it for a tiny bit, or I'll play, I started playing Magic the Gathering Arena again. Super fun. I'll get Kyle in on that eventually. Maybe we can play some matches. It'll be fun. But anyways, yes, enough plugs. Thank you guys so much for listening.
We love you.
We appreciate you.
You're the best.
And bye-bye.
Bye.